Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, issue 5, Jeff Loeb writing with Bill Sienkiewicz on the art.
Or Sienkiewicz. Do we know which one it is?
Not a clue. I sounded confident and went for it.
I think it's a V, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, I will say, obviously, like, what you could say about the art changing with each issue, because of just, that's how they've been doing this. Whatever you think of that's what what it is, but I kind of like the art in this issue. I thought the mood and the tone of it really added to the vibes for me.
So I love the mood and the tone. Some of Sienkiewicz's Joker and Batman at the beginning, and I feel he's kind of going for more ethereal because it doesn't look like this for the whole rest. I was kind of worried I was like, oh man, I know Sienkiewicz is like a living legend. He's done stuff through the 70s, 80s, whatever. And I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't have it, right? And then when we get to, what's the exact term here, with Gordon and his wife, I was like, oh, okay, this is what I more associate with Sienkiewicz.
Yeah.
So again, I think it was just a stylistic choice here. But yeah, I was a bit worried at the beginning.
Yeah, I was kind of into that stuff at the start, if I'm honest.
I'm really mixed because I think the art is fantastic. I think it's probably the issue I like the least out of the whole book, though, but not because of the art.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously this one focuses a lot on Gordon's marriage breaking down, him coming home late and his wife being like, hey, you always pick the city over me. I keep thinking about leaving and going back to Chicago and leaving you. And then she finally does, the next time. And we get that sad panel of him sitting there at the New Year's decorations around him, like he didn't come home for New Year's. in complete darkness. Yeah, and it's all really sad. So the idea is that Batman is still recuperating for a couple of months, so we end up in Valentine's Day for the rest of the issue. But so part of the story here is that Joker is actually going around and capturing a lot of the villains who left Arkham, and that Robin allowing Calendar Man to get out, which led to a prison break, actually ruined the plans of whoever the killer is right now, who seems to want everyone in Arkham. And there is, they're openly talking about why is he not killing people this time, this holiday killer? Why is it all just wounding, except for a couple of key exceptions, which happens later in this issue. Clearly, he wants certain people alive for whatever reason. So, yeah, and we also have Batman get after Scarecrow, who's also out and about, who I also thought looked cool in this art style. So, yeah, just the really fun stuff, I thought. And then the big set piece being that the feds are getting involved in all this, and Joker, deals with them. In fact, but the running theme in this issue is that Joker's got a little bit of everyone's stuff. He's got Mad Hatter's hat, he's got the Riddler's staff, he's got Mr. Freeze's gun, and he's using it all over the place. And it's funny because the art style, of course, here is definitely and I mean this in the best way, but it's a sort of messy style, right? That's kind of
it's very scratchy,
and that's Sienkiewicz's style, right? That's
always
what I meant by it got more into that style, the less of the dreamy where there was odd angles, and it got more sketchy.
But that page where the holiday killer's gun comes out in the red, and then the car skids and flips, I thought that page was phenomenal. And it was even in this kind of messy style, it's very clear and concise with the action, so that I was always invested in what was happening.
Kind of why he's regarded so highly, that you could have such a scratchy, messy style, yet everything is always still clear as to what's happening.
Yeah, because it makes it feel more gritty, right? And along those lines.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then Joker, when Batman grabs him at the scene of the crime, because he's just arrived from the Scarecrow stuff, Joker pulls out some Scarecrow straw that has the Scarecrow toxin in it, and he snaps it. So Batman ends up having this weird new version of his origin, where him and Catwoman are the one taking Robin to the Marquezaro. And I actually quite like this, because as much as we always sort of go on about Batman seeing his parents' death again in this, a big part of this book is him worrying about Robin, and this idea that he's now taking care of Robin. So the idea that he sees himself as the one who's going to leave him behind made a lot of sense to me as a fear,
It's also one of the few things that you can get away with showing these events, even if it's the original events, is fear toxin, right?
Yeah. Also, I didn't get nearly as upset with the pearls because they weren't broken and falling. It looks like Catwoman's just wearing them normal. So we're okay.
Yeah. Well, the implication here is that Robin's the one that's actually killed instead of the parents in this case as well. So
yeah, I like that it shows it as just like that little drawing in the red with the X'd out eyes.
Yeah.
Like a child's drawing almost.
Yeah, because it really pops out as well because everything else is just muted like blue or muted
blues and grays. Yeah,
and it's red.
Yeah. So no, I think that stuff is really cool. And then like this is the Batman that's got the pointy like sort of shoulder like cape kind of thing and all that, and that stuff looks all really great. So yeah, they're not really sure like what happened here, who took the guy they were transporting, and it's like, oh, maybe it was Poison Ivy because there's some leaves kind of like leading to this place. But yeah, Joker's put back in his cell, and they're kind of saying, okay, like whoever's doing this knows stuff about all these villains and how we're reacting to it. Who's doing this? Who knows this much? And Batman posits the question, where's Harvey Dent? And this is something the book's been really holding back, is we've been getting these teases of Harvey and Gilda in the sewers, and there's something going on there. And then this last couple of pages gives us the next piece of that puzzle, which is, and at this point, I'm almost thinking all this stuff with Harvey and Gilda is all set before the rest of the story. And like, it is Harvey and Gilda, or one of them behind everything later on. But yeah, basically she's saying to the doctor, or the doctor's saying to her, like he might not know who you are. His med's in a messed up place. And yeah, the ending of the book is she walks in and Two-Face is standing there and he says, Mrs. Dent, what are you doing here? Which would imply to me that he is only the Two-Face persona. Like, the original Harvey Dent persona is just gone. Maybe not for good, but certainly isn't there right now.
Right.
It's a bit more traditional Two-Face with the buried personas in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just that image too, how he's up in the shadows, right, with Grundy behind him, and just he doesn't look like how I remember him.
Oh, and I didn't even notice this until now, but there's a lot of those holiday
Guns.
Pistols in the background.
Yeah,
the Lugers or whatever they're called.
It's a 22. I know that much because they keep saying.
Yeah, they keep saying that.
Yeah, but yeah, just he looks. It's almost like a twisted James Bond too, right? Because of the suit.
Sure.
And half face and whatever. But yeah,
don't tell Amazon that.
Yeah, don't. Well. But yeah, it's almost like we're seeing him for the first time.
Yeah,
which is a nice touch.
Yeah, no, I'm into that. And yeah, if it is just Two-Face doing all this stuff, but he's not killing the villains, he's just shooting them. Because as they say, this is effectively putting them back in Arkham because they're surviving. Once they get picked up by the authorities, off to Arkham they go. So what is Two-Face planning? That he wants all the villains, all the Rose Gallery of Gotham, all in Arkham at the same time.
Yeah. What if it's Harvey playing Two-Face playing Harvey? He's putting them all in there to take them all out because it's the prosecutor, right?
I think you're overthinking it.
That's a lot of layers.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go
like an
with
onion.
That. I feel like he's got an end game in mind, whatever that may be.
Yeah. Also, did you find it weird for the Joker to reference McDonald's?
It stuck out, but I feel like it's stuff that the Joker used to do in like the 80s.
Yeah.
Like make like references to stuff like that, but just doesn't anymore.
I think it used to be more common, yeah. I think at this point McDonald's it's a little bit different when it's something that feels fresh and new, but McDonald's is such an old thing now that I guess it's past that period of not feeling weird.
I'm so used to them subbing like Big Belly Burger or any of the normal, right? That it did stick out, but it was so funny just because he's like, come get a Mr. Freeze, Tasty Freeze or whatever, as he's firing it at the cops. But yeah, I was like, McDonald's, whoa. In a DC book? What are we doing? It just took me by surprise.
It took me out as well, but also, like I said, I let it slide. But it did feel weird at first.
I mean, all the real cities exist across all the, as well as the fictional cities, so why wouldn't all the real fast food places also exist alongside?
They just don't have a presence in Gotham.
Yeah.
Just absolutely. The insurance is too high in Gotham.
Yeah, it probably is.
You have to drive to Brookhaven to get a McDonald's.
Yeah, but it's also a clown referencing a clown too, right? Ronald McDonald and it's Joker too, so it kind of works on that. But yeah, it took me out for a hot second, not too much.
Yeah, there's a few little things like that just like caught me in this. There's like little pacing things as well. Like, there's a bit earlier on where it's as Batman calls out Robin for the crack in the glass in Arkham, and like in the first panel where they're starting the conversation, Batman's like looking over a microscope, and the second panel they're like training, like sparring. He's like, harder, hit me harder, and like but the conversation feels like all at once. It doesn't feel like there's a natural. I think there's supposed to be a jump between the two.
I think so.
But the way the conversation flows, it feels like one long conversation. I mean,
I've seen movies do that though, where they'll do that thing where time is jumping, but the conversation just runs through the scene.
Yeah, but I think usually when you do it, part of it here is the color is so it feels like they're in the same location, they're in the same moment. Like it's both got that blue background, they're both heavily shadowed. Like it feels like the same moment, but I don't think it's supposed to be. At least usually when you do this, you change the background, you change something to show that it's moved. Same in movies when they do that. Like there's a cut to make it clear. Here, it just feels like the next panel. Like it's just a little bit weird.
Yeah, yeah. I think I like this issue more than last issue. I think I like all the stuff with the car and the implications towards the end, and I really like the art. So I'm feeling fairly good about it. It's definitely, it's not perfect, but I've been saying since the start, there's something about this, Long Halloween universe and the vibe of it, and maybe it's just because of nostalgia, because it's one of the first Bat stories most people read, that it just feels really comforting to be back in.
Although sometimes I feel like we're spinning wheels because it has to be 12 issues to match the holidays.
Oh, but it isn't though. Right. This is only 10 issues.
Right. That's right.
It still feels like it's
sometimes
the pacing, not this specific issue, but the pacing of the series feels a bit off right now.
Yeah. I mean, we're halfway through now, so we'll see.
Yeah.
How it pans out.
Look, I'm gonna be real. I forgot it was only 10 issues. So,
But it does feel like we're just stuck in the middle, kind of waiting for the next inciting incident, waiting for the next act.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What are you giving it, Matt?
7.5.
Connor?
I'm going to give it a 6. It's for the first issue I wasn't so hot on, but I've been surprisingly into the rest of the book before this, though.
Yeah, I think I like it a bit more than the last issue. I'm going to go with... I am happy to give this an 8. I was pretty into it. So, I mean, that's not me saying that I am excited for Jeff Loeb's Hush 2, necessarily, but Long Halloween was always better than Hush, so we'll see if Hush 2 is comparable with the same gap to last Halloween.